thing going here. Trying some new softwares out. Almost there. Almost there. It's probably better if I put my headphones on so you guys can hear what I'm saying. Testing out streaming on YouTube tonight for the first time. So this is a new experience. I'm not testing out streaming on YouTube tonight for the first time. Not going to be promoting that anytime soon. Well, let's just see how it goes. Never streamed on the YouTube before. So, yep. I don't really know how this thing works. But apparently I'm streaming. Just getting this going, so I apologize for the turdiness. I'm trying this thing out to see if I can get. But let me know if things are working. Like if you can hear me. Can you hear me? If not, we're just gonna pretend like you can. I don't know how people see the multiple chats. Okay. How's everyone feeling tonight? I'm feeling good. Feeling like this guy, like, yeah. So we're going. I don't. I'm going to have to do like a tutorial. Sounds good? Okay, thanks. Hey, Cartoon Sculpts, how's it going? Been off for a week. We did some traveling down to Colorado, obviously. And so it's out last week. Oh my goodness. And I'm testing out a new glove this week. This is the DokiWare Glove 2.0. We'll see how it goes. It's got a little bit. This is like the original, which I actually love the original. The original DokiWare glove. I wear this so I don't like gunk up the screen with my hand oils. You know, it kind of cleans the screen too because it's got like this microfiber coating on it, so it's really nice. The Pro, this is the Pro version that we're going to be testing out tonight, actually has like another layer and extended it. Originally it was just here. The new one extends all the way out to the pinky and a little bit on the ring finger, so we'll see how that goes tonight. I like doing that. Anyways. Okay, before we get into the third dimension, hello. I want to do some sketches. I want to find a better material for this before I move on. That'll probably do just fine. Probably not. Anyways, let's do some sketching. Now I do believe somewhere there was an update. Do I have a link to this bad Larry here? Yeah, I do actually. I love them. I've been wearing these gloves for the past probably 2-3 years. And I love them so much. This is like, see, this is like more of these gloves. And I've paid for every single one. Like, this is not a sponsored post. I've had them for years, ever since they came out. And they're ridiculously good. So I have one at work, 2 at home, one that I keep at my desk, and one that I keep next to my iPad. So I'm always have one next to me. But it's nice because like my screen stays really nice and clean and smooth, and it doesn't get, you don't get like, I don't know if you've ever had like a hot sweaty hand glide across glass before, but that's what it feels like, and it's not great. Okay, where did my pen go? So the website that I'm going to be using for this is called quickposes.com. And this is just it's a site built basically to practice gesture sketching and figure drawing. Yep. I do have to change some of my settings first because somebody updated something and it screwed everything up. As far as like, I like my dynamic pencil, like I like to be able to change my pencil size. So you're going to be able to see me change my settings. But it's a pretty easy fix. I had to do this at work just the other day. So I have to change this to keyboard, modifiers, alt right click, and right click. And so now I can go, it's not going to work. Let's try that again. Oh, that's why. Modifiers. Keyboard modifier, alt right, right click. I think that should do it. Ah. Well, fuddy-duddy. It did not work. It worked at work. Then I won't change my brush size. Okay, 1 second. I've got to make sure my kids are fine, as they're still up. It's summer and the kids never sleep. Okay, boom. Let's get into this. So, we got 3 boys. Ooh, switching to the blue. No, I want to test out the Pro because it just came in today. So I've got to like stretch it out because it comes in a little tight, even in a large. What was I saying? Anyway, so I have 3 boys. They're awesome. You know, 6, 4, and 2. 1 on the way. Well, I don't know if it's a boy. We don't know what the 4th child is. We have a 4th child on the way. And they're out there watching Barbie, which is great. Like, 3 boys watching Barbie, they're having a blast. I think it's the best thing in the world. Which isn't that funny to me, because, like, when I was a kid, you know, when I was like 5 or 6, for Christmas, I also asked for Barbies for my birthday, and I thought it was the greatest. So, like, they're just following their daddy's footsteps, being a progressive male. I always start off with like some gesture drawings because I need to get like my brain going, my art brain, and like to get the crap out of the way, because it is gonna be full of crap for a little bit. As I said, this is the first time I'm streaming as on YouTube as well, and I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll try it out. So I'll start off with like doing maybe like 10 to 15 of these. These ones are a little longer. I might change the time. It's feeling a little, but I haven't done this. I took the day off work today to my wife had a doctor's appointment for the wee child. I mean, this is some great info here. So I stayed home. But I also was a treat because I did get a chance to sneak out for lunch, and I got to reunite with kind of the Disney Infinity gang that I used to work with. And it was one of the, you know, we're now all at different studios. So it was fun to like kind of see where everyone's at and have lunch and laugh about everything. This is just like the greatest little gang, like Shane Olson, Brian Allen, Brad Bolender, Ryan Peterson, just like some of the greatest guys in the industry. So it was fun to like just go to lunch and shoot the breeze. And then come back and draw on the iPad with my kids a little bit, which was fun. One of those said kids may be needing me. Hold on just 1 second. Rocking out the Burby. Oh, whoa. I believe the last time we did streaming, it was the critique night, and my 2-year-old was not he was not having it. He was not going to bed. So he was just in the office as I was doing these critiques, and one of the guys that I was critiquing was like doing like a gargoyle, and you can hear him start growling in the background. See, there's a question. Hold on. I'm going to just finish this and then I'll move on to that question that was just asked about rendering. Okay, I'll pause. Axel Truth asks, "Hey Matt, I watched all of your tutorials. One thing I was wondering is how do you get those super awesome clay renderings in Keyshot, like the materials / light setup that you recommend?" Okay, so that's a great question. So I'm thinking you're probably referring to some of the clay renders that I did, like probably this guy is probably one of the clay renders that you're referring to. These are all like crappy and loading slow, and it's not actually the greatest render. This is a pretty easy thing to do, is what I've done, and then this one's probably a better one to look at. Maybe it is. Yeah, so we'll even go in. So this one's probably a better one to look at. So what this is a standard plastic material, actually, that what I did is you've got a lot of set materials in Keyshot. So I think I started with just a colored plastic material and put it on, and then took the specularity down quite a bit, so it had a slight roughness to it. And then I started lighting this with the HDRI lighting that they have already in Keyshot, and then on top of that I put in one key light, or one fill light, main light, not fill light, one main light, one key light, and so my lighting setup kind of looks like this. That I have my object, and this is like the world space. So like if we're looking top down, so like if we're up on top of this, I put one key light that is pointing, that's above it. So if we're looking down, this one is if we're looking straight at it. I put this light here. In Keyshot, you can make objects that have a light. So I have one area light, and this casts a really soft shadow. It's really natural. And then I have one bounce light, and I might have two, but this one, I believe, for this, I just wanted one. It has just a subtle color into it. I think I put a blue into that. So this has got like a slight orange. It's so subtle, like you can barely even tell. And this goes probably here. This bounce light, and it's really subtle. And then I have, depending on where the rim light is coming from, so this has got a rim on the side. So I think I put a close spotlight right here that's like literally almost right behind it, just shining to get this harsh, or this really hard line. But the shadows on that are really hard, but it lights up this area really well. So it gives a nice rim light. So it's a very subtle, like three-point light setup, but it's pretty easy to do in Keyshot. And I do varieties of this. Sometimes I'll do like a 5-point where I'll do a couple bounce lights, so I'll do a couple in the front, but I'll still mainly have one key light. My area light is the HDRI lighting, and I just drop that down to like 0.1, depending on how much I want from that. So yeah. So let's do a couple more sketches and then we'll get back into it. Oh yeah, no problem. If I eventually want to do full rendering of the piece I'm doing, but who knows when I'll get there. I'm actually thinking of like maybe tonight I just take a break from that and do maybe like a speed sculpt tonight. It's just something that oh boy, losing it. This one's more fun. Giant heed. Okay, we'll call that good for tonight for sketching. Let's get into the meaty goodness of the ZBrush. So this is where we left off. He's in a decent spot. Like, could probably do an update to the textures on his face. So right now he's kind of a little too flat. We need to really kind of punch some of these colors. I'm pointing with my fingers, but we need to kind of punch some of this stuff. Just to give him a little bit more contrast, and then we could texture the rest of him. But we could continue on that. Let's see. I thought I might have had some references of what I might want to do. Let's see here. At one point I had downloaded a bunch of reference and I'm like, oh, I want to do this. This sounds fun. No, this sounds fun. But now it's all gone. It's all gone. Let's see here. I think I saved it in Instagram at least. Oh man, that guy's awesome. One of them was this happy fella, but I just saw that someone made him in 3D already, and it's like, that's too bad. But it was really good. This girl's great too. Love that. This cool broom. Ooh, that would be fun. Let's see. I had a couple options of what I wanted to do. If it was this kid, he could probably be a fun speed sculpt that we could do tonight. By Bobby Pontius. He is awesome. Great, very talented concept artist. Or what was the other one? Or maybe this guy, Jordan, Michael B. Jordan from Black Panther could also be fun too. I just like the stylization of it. I thought it was pretty rad. So I don't know if anyone cares, or I just continue on this and we just finish strong. Which maybe that's just what we do tonight. I think we just finished strong tonight, and then this will be the last. No bad choices, thank you. Good. Everyone's severely disappointed. Okay. I think we just finished texturing this guy. Kind of put the final P's and Q's on him, and then we wrap this guy up, and next week we'll start fresh with something new. I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break. 3-minute break, and then we're going to go all out on this young man here. Boom. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Ooh, questions. Okay, hey Matt, first off, love your art. I have one question about rendering too. Can you talk about what is your workflow when you take a model into render it in Arnold? So my workflow to Arnold is just different because like Keyshot, I'm not really prepping a whole ton of. Like with Arnold, I'm prepping the topology. I'm making sure my maps are great. My UV maps are laid out really nicely. That I have my materials. You go in and you tweak the materials quite a bit more. You kind of have to know a little bit more of like the material hierarchy, and so that's Arnold's is awesome. But it's you do have to kind of know the ins and outs of Arnold, or have someone help you walk through the initial setups, because that's probably it's a little bit different. Because like Keyshot, I'm not worrying about topology. I'm not worrying about my maps, because I can literally just pop this in as is, no maps, and it just keeps the poly paint. When Arnold, I'm trying to bake a series of really good maps. I want to make sure my spec, I'm not just baking those maps, but I'm also like creating specular maps, subsurface maps, subdermal maps, things that bring it to that next level that Keyshot doesn't necessarily have right away. Like you have to do some finicking and to get like it to that level. It's not impossible, it's just some more tweaking. So that's probably, it's just a little bit different. It's more like prepping a game model. Like you want to have a solid topology and a solid base for everything, solid maps. I'm going to pop up the concept so you guys can see that. This is by a concept artist by the name of Tom Booth. So you'll see here, this is the original concept. So we'll plop that over. I'm gonna do a pass on his face, as we've just kind of lost. I mean, I think the face overall is sculpted really well, but the paint could just go a little bit better. As I did a test render, and it was just not quite there. Oh yeah, no problem, Esteban. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, actually one thing I want to do, now that I just thought about this, I just want to smooth the RGB around these eyes just to see how it will look. I don't really love it. Never mind. Okay, Sorry, I get sidetracked very quickly. Just checking one thing. Last, I made a killer painting brush, like a skin detailing brush, at work, and and I've never brought it home apparently, so that's unfortunate. Question is, do you record these videos on Twitch, Matt? These time differences are a bit unfortunate. Yeah, so yes, these videos are recorded on Twitch. They stay up for 2 weeks and then they are gone. I believe I'm going to be doing the same on YouTube as I'm starting now, apparently. I'm not really sure how the YouTube stream is going to do or how it's going to be, as I'm getting a little bit new to this like multi-streaming thing. So yes, the answer is yes. And so, yes. But they're only up again for 2 weeks. Okay, so that's what I want. We want to start punching this stuff quite a bit. First thing I'm doing is, and this is kind of a test, I'm going into the creases. I'm going to put in a really saturated red. This may not work in the end, but this could kind of also sell like the subsurface nature of some of these things. So I'll probably bring this into Keyshot just to start testing the skin detail, if it's getting like the right amount. It's actually got to have a little bit more like purple in it. Yeah, cheers indeed. So yeah, feel free to watch after the fact.
Sergeant first class, Mark Wood.
So now we can start kind of testing, seeing if this is coming across. If it's too much or if it's not enough. In ZBrush, you never really know like how the colors are going to be starting to turn out. I don't know what that's all about. So like at this, with no material on it, it's too much, but then I'm going to add my skin material to this, and then we'll see how that holds up. It's probably a little bit too much in the creases. So yeah, the paint inside is probably just way too much. Now just playing around with lighting the environment. Yeah, it's just making him look dead. Not dead, but it's... Hey, Genus Falco, thank you. So that's probably a little too much, but some of this stuff, like It's coming across a little better. The bags look a little bit better. So that's good at least. So I can take this, and because this is all new, I can just start over. But it does give me a good insight of like, okay, so now I know where at least I need to go. And maybe I don't really do any red on the inside, and I just let the subsurface kind of take control of that. This is just kind of overlaying some colors. I think the ears actually are probably one of the things that need to go the most. And we'll pump up that nose too. Pump the jam up on that nose. Like here, hello. Here it's, you know, it's really, I like kind of the contrast, but as soon as you start rendering it, it actually, all this, the facial tones kind of get washed away. So like this looks way contrasty here, but if we bring it, I hit the wrong button. Wait for program to respond. If it responds, close, whatever. Let's see if we can salvage any of this. I mean, this isn't great lighting to begin with. And no recovery. Well, spit.
Master Sergeant Matt Neese with the composition and also the trombone solo.
Okay, well, let's paint it again. Why not? I'm actually going to use the paint spray brush, the pour spray brush. This actually does work really well if you just use RGB. Kind of gives a texture to things. Let's try playing around with this. You're tearing me apart! Nice. You don't get too many room quotes or references these days. I mean, I guess you do now that that movie came out. But did anybody know about that movie before the what is it? I can't tell if I'm actually painting anything. I think I am. Before that movie was made, I swear there's like a spider on my leg. Ugh. Tommy Wiseau. What a great man. That was like in my first gig job, like when I was new in the industry. My first actual industry job was at this place called React Games, where we made really crappy stuff, really crappy games, unfortunately. Talented people, like it. Don't get me wrong. Like our group that we had was really talented. It was just the projects that they accepted to do was just a lot of crap. So, anyways, like, and we crunched. I was there for a year and a half, and we crunched probably a year and 3 months out of the year and a half that I was there. Just the worst. Crunching's not worth it. I hate crunching. Crunching isn't worth it. I think more companies are seeing like the benefit of like not crunching. Anyways, as we were there crunching one night, and it's like 2 a.m., our art director, who is this super awesome dude at the time, like, he's like, "Oh, we gotta watch The Room," because at this point the Room was still on YouTube, and I don't know, like watching it at 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. in the pits of despair. Oh, hold on. Huh? Stopped. Okay, Mom's upstairs. Do you want to go tell her and see if she can help? Or do you need... Hold on. Yeah. Anyways, watching The Room for the first time when you're in the pits of despair yourself, It was the greatest moment. It's so bad. Oh, it's so bad. Okay, let's do a test with this. I had the glasses, I had the glasses. And then that. Let's see what this looks like. This probably looks better. Invasion of the Sleep Snatchers? What? So it's so bad it's good, yeah. It's definitely that in a nutshell. Okay. Okay. Looks somewhat better, somewhat worse. I wonder if we play around. Sometimes it's like you're fighting against some of the subsurface stuff. And like the skin, the skin material can be really finicky, and it's also like very light dependent. So some things will come across like super blown out, and some of the stuff won't. Like on my screen. Oh, excuse me. On my screen it doesn't look too bad. Like, I like some of the subsurface nature that you're getting in there. It's really nice. But this is probably still not enough. Have you seen this? Have I seen? What is this? Oh, beautiful. Man, Johannes, I believe that's his name, is like, his concept I love. His lighting he does is so great. He's a fantastic concept artist. But it's basically me. That's what you're saying. He's me. Camden Watts, that's me. That's freaking great, though. That would be fun to model, actually. Oh, I should probably show you. Johannes Helgensen. I think I'm saying that right. I don't know. He got married today also, by the way. So, for him to, like, be doing this, he posted a day ago before he gets married. And that guy is incredibly talented. Okay, so, from what I'm seeing... And I apologize for everyone who's watching on this stream on my YouTube that I'm just barely seeing. Daniel Norton, since when do I live stream? I've been streaming on Twitch primarily. This is the first time I'm actually streaming on YouTube at the same time. Would you make Gumroad videos on how to draw? Your ZBrush videos help me so much. I actually am. I'm working on a ZBrush video right now, which I'm hoping to finish up fairly soon. But the next one, I'll probably be a drawing video. So yes, I have been considering that, and I think I've got some stuff that I'd like to try to shoot for. So, looking on this, thanks. Kids are cute. They are cute. They're friggin' awesome, those kitties. Oh, mine. Okay, so what I'm seeing is that the contrast is getting better. It's getting. I think I want to go deeper in the eyes, the purple, and then brighter reds, because it's still. As I'm looking at it on my other screen, it's still not sharp enough. But I think it's a good base layer, so I can start. I can start adding in like a good layer. So let's start with this, and then we're going to go a little bit richer and a little bit darker. And then I'm going to switch to my airbrush and drop that down to like 5. And I think I want to define this area just a little bit more. I mean, this may be like way overkill. It looks horrible in ZBrush, like to go that far, but let's do a quick test to see like what this is actually doing, because this might be like right on what it needs to be. Oh, whoops. It's gonna die again though. Watch. Bloody hell. Hey, good night, Cartoon Sculpts. Thanks for coming out. Gotta work in a few hours. What are you doing awake? Is there a way... I'm getting a question on YouTube that says, is there a way to model in ZBrush from multiple viewpoints like in Maya? No. I wish there was. I mean, it would be cool to have a little... Let's see if we can wait for this to respond while I'm answering questions. Hey, yeah, thanks for coming out. Like, thanks, and for commenting as well. I really appreciate people coming out and watching and making some comments and asking questions. But to answer Daniel's question from YouTube, you cannot, in fact, have multiple viewpoints. There is something you can kind of do, which is nice, that I've been doing lately. Oh well, I'm not. I keep hitting Shift or Control P, which is activating another thing. But the sad thing is I think I just lost all that poly paint. Grumble, grumble, grumble. And this is, I learned this from Frank Zing, is you can save camera angles and then set those camera angles to hotkeys. Yeah, you can hit Shift S, but what he's saying is like, can you it didn't save anything. Grumble, grumble, grumble. So you can do this. This is what someone on Twitch said. Is you can hit Shift S and this makes a snapshot. But what our friend Daniel from YouTube is asking is, can you have save multiple views? So no, you can't have multiple viewpoints open, but you can toggle between them quite quickly. So if you do document Z-app link, you can save camera views. So, whoops, I'm going to plop this over here on the side. And it didn't plop where I wanted it to. Come on, ploppers, mix plopperson. So I can save my front. So if I want my front, and then I have my right side and my left side, and then I can save, you know, this is my top bottom. So if I'm sculpting along and I'm like, okay, so like, well, what does he look from the front? Boom. What does he look from the right? Boom. And if I toggle these to like 1, 2, 3, 4, at least I can quickly get snapshots, you know, and you know, it automatically saves the reverse of these, so I can check them. I'll do this sometimes when I'm checking reference, so I'll like have my reference up. Guess I should start saving my stuff so I don't have to repainting everything so many times. Just work on multiple computers at the same time. Also, just work on multiple computers at the same time. But what I'll do, and let's clear all these. Clear all. So when I have my reference up, and especially if I'm like trying to work to make it exact, I'll have my reference up. Let's turn down the opacity on that. Turn off my brush samples. And then hit Z. So now I'll like plop this to exactly where I want it. So I'm checking my proportions, my sizes, and then this is my front now. Boom. So if ever I'm working and I want to check the proportions to this, I can hit the front, or if I make that a hotkey by holding Control and Alt and tapping on the front, and now I hit 1, I've now made my hotkey so I can just go 1. Okay, and see something's off, and then I can go back and sculpt and then hit 1 to check it out again, and then so I can go back and forth, you know, checking my proportions really, really quickly that way. But it's at least a nice workaround for, it's not multiple views, but it is at least a way to like save a camera. I don't know if that answers your question to your liking, but that's probably the best thing that we'll get. Feel free to ask more questions, everyone. I do like the idea of just working on multiple computers at the same time. Wouldn't that be great? Okay, let's paint this face again for the 3rd time tonight. I thought it was in a pretty decent spot. Maybe a little bit too much. So I like this idea of like having this underlying brightness, and then on top I'll mute it. Where did I go? I had my poor spray brush. I'm just using the RGB and then bringing that down to like 4 or 5. And I lost my tunes. So, I mean, I could move on to something else because you guys have seen this so many times. But I really want to get at least this done. By the way, I am liking the glove. Having that microfiber all the way to the pinky is actually quite nice. Yeah, and it's already starting to loosen up. That's one thing that I really like about these gloves is they do conform to your hand pretty quickly. And so like they might be really tight when you start wearing them, but that changes almost within like an hour or so of wearing it, and it just stays really comfortable after that. I've got a question on Twitch that that is from Ken and Watts. If you need to cut a mouth bag into an established model, i.e. with multiple subdivisions, would you just abandon your topo, cut it in with Sculptus Pro, and then use ZBrush to get a nice topology back? Or would you just never get to that solution? Actually, if I had a decent topology, it depends on what kind of topology is. Like, if you check this guy out, you know, he's got a mouth bag, obviously. But if I have a decent topology, there are things you can do. So let's do a quick demo of what that's a good question. So, like, let's say we're working off this. Let's ZBrush this so it's a little bit lower. ZBrush. Okay, so let's say that this is our head. ZBrush it again. There we go. So this is our head, and we have like a decent topology, you know, but we don't have a mouth bag. So how do we get a mouth bag inside this, right? So I would do a couple of things. So one, I would try to establish where my mouth is. So like if that's where my mouth is, I'd make a polygroup out of that and then delete it. And I probably you have your high resolution with the subdivisions and then a duplicate, so you can just go back to the lowest and delete it. So I'll delete that. Delete hidden. And now I want to make this smooth because like that hole is going to look horrible. So if I mask just where that hole is going to be and then invert the mask, if you go to your deformations and then polish by features, you click on this little icon here, this little circle to make it a donut, and just pull that out, it smooths that hole out really nicely. So now what I can do, because I have a hole for where the mouth can go in, I can take another, let's do insert, this guy, we'll do a lower subdivision even on him, ZBrush. Okay, I hope this is all coming together. So, where's our face on this guy? Here. Okay. So I would take my mouth bag that I'm wanting to cut, and I'm going to scale that inside. So if you're looking, this is where my mouth bag is going to be. But I need those to join. Right, those two need to be together. So what I'm going to do is one, I'm going to delete these front faces here. So select, you know, you could do it by selecting them. I'm turning on double facing so you can just see a little bit better of what I have. I'm going to delete the hidden. So now I have a hole. Now if I hit double, so I'm not seeing my double faces again. I've made a hotkey for this, by the way, to see double faces. But if you don't know where double faces are, it's under display properties and then double. So you can see both sides. But you want to see, this is actually important because this is the outside of the mouth, and if you don't do it right, the mouth bag actually won't work. So I'm going to flip these faces so they all point to the inside of the mouth. So now you're looking at the inside of the mouth. And what I can do is I can now merge these two. Merge down. So they're in together. So I have my mouth bag and then my front of my face with my lips. Like we're pretending that this is the ring of your lips, right? So now I can use this handy tool of curve bridge. Click on that, and this works best out of symmetry. So you click on the, if you start, let's do that again. So if you click on the edge and start to drag your curve and then hold shift, it'll snap all the way around your open hole along the edge perfectly. And then the second line that I'm going to do is on the mouth bag line, the mouth bag edge, I should say. So if I click and start to drag and then hold shift, oops, this is, you got to get in there. So click and shift, it's going to create a bridge from my lips to my mouth bag, and then tap to accept. You know, it's not the most pretty geometry, but this is a way you can keep the subdivisions, and then I would just take it and subdivide this up and then project the high to the low, the high subdivisions to the low subdivisions. But this is a way to keep your topology the way and just add in more. So like now this face actually has a mouth bag in there and it's all connected, one topology. It's a little complicated, but it does work. I actually use this system quite a bit for merging like armpits, you know, like merging arms. So like instead of the arm like connecting here, I can actually control where the seam is and like how far it's going to puncture into the arm. And to connect head, you know, head topology to neck topology. I'm sure that made a lot of sense. So you might have to rewatch. Okay, that makes sense, yeah. I do... If you have any of my tutorials, like I think I go over that with the when I connect the head to the body, I do that for the female Miss February. So this looks like a clown. It doesn't look as bad on my other screen, but it looks pretty bad here. But let's test it out. I'm going to save it this time. Do a save as. Man, this would have saved us some time.
Sergeant Major Craig Frederick on the trumpet and the composition.
Oh, I should have probably also not organ. It's not gonna work. Okay, as much. Yep, it's not gonna work. Oh, maybe it will. Let's try it again. So now I can see it's probably a little too much on the nose, but we can easily take that back. So one nice thing about Keyshot is it keeps rendering, like it's baking in the background while I do this. So it's further processing the image. So I can really tell, like, the ears aren't too bad. The eyes are probably, like, too much going on there, but it's getting closer. Oh, hell's bells. Gosh dang it. Oh, I killed it before. Keep hitting Shift P, which makes this like interactive light tool. So I wonder if I bring back just solid color in here, because it's blending too much. I'm going to start painting some like natural ambient occlusion. I want to go a little bit more saturated, as this will help kind of make it feel alive. Having kind of this like really saturated dark red kind of help. I don't know if it's worth spending any time making the mouth feel more Mo Betta. Maybe just the chin. Pop a little pop of wrong color. Actually, let's do a little bit of that and then a little bit of this. I mean, it's looking actually a lot more alive and a lot more of the character that I've wanted. So that's actually not looking too bad. Let's do a test with everything again, and then the eyeballs too. Ah, shucks, you crashed ZBrush by trying to zero mesh with 40 million active points. Yeah, that'll do it. Actually, I want to keep that on. I think this has been a good test for like skin detail though. Oh, I just killed it all there. Oh. You know, kind of figuring out what's looking good and what's hurting, I think has been beneficial. This one would be fun to kind of backlight the ears a little bit, so that translucency really helps. And I like doing just good test renders of the head, because they're pretty easy to set up, especially like getting the eyes going. This is the outside of the eye. And to get a good eye render in Keyshot is to, you know, obviously you're having two materials. You have the outside, which is like the glass material that you use, which is this glass refracted glass. And I just use that straight on the eyeball. And I think the only thing I could change is maybe take that refracting down to like 1.4. I think it really depends on how much life you're trying to get out of it. This gives it a little bit more bulge. I mean, this gives it a little less bulge, actually. And then I want to change the inside eye to kind of almost glow a little bit. So there's a few... There's a... not really glow, but just to be bright. So sometimes I use like kind of this ivory glossy paint. Or sometimes even... I test around with a bunch of different things. I don't want it to be too shiny is the problem, but I want it to be bright. There was like this really nice material that I used to have. So that might be it. This soft plastic. I'll take that and edit it, and then even and if you make the translucency a little bit lighter, it actually brightens it up. And then if you play around with, make it take the roughness down a little bit, and then actually makes this really nice looking eye. How is that looking on your guys' end? Ooh, that's a good idea, dead end. Is, yeah, if you're trying to zero mesh something that high, doing a decimation on it first is a great idea. Just to drop it down. You'll keep the detail that you want, but at least you're, you know, not going to kill your computer. Yeah. Dynameshing's fine too, even if you're working with like, but if you have a mouth bag, obviously you don't want to dynamesh. The decimation will keep that mouth bag. Here, I'm going to do one test as well. Here, let's make. Okay, I'm going to do one light. So this is, I think it was Axel. Who asked me about the rendering in ZBrush? Well, I think it was Axel Truth, right? So this is an example of how I go about making a light. So first I set the area light. This is my overall area light, which I'm just using for initial reference. But if I want to go in and add an actual light in there, what I do is go into Edit, Add Geometry, and I normally just use either a sphere or a plane. And for this area light, this is going to be my key light. I'm going to use a sphere. And I'll take this, and in my scene, you know, I've got my new sphere added, and I'm actually just changing the name to key light. And then I want to edit that position, so move, and I'll drop this back, and even go into this little thing is really nice. It goes into a kind of a process mode where it kills. It's just a little bit faster. So I'm going to take this, and this is more or less like a ball of sun. And it helps if my area light is really, really low. So I can just see this. And let's choose a darker background for now. Okay. So I'm guesstimating that's where I want it. And I'm going to just take a material, go to my lights, and I'm going to choose an area light. And this is, normally my area lights are warm. Start off with a nice warm light. And then I'll edit that material. And I edit it when I'm more or less in. When I'm zoomed in and I've got the look of what I want. And I keep, I think I actually switched to Lux or Lumen. I can't remember what I do. I don't really worry too much about this because I want my shadows visible because it's my key light. Visible in a reflection, so it will show up in the eyes or the rims of the glasses. Visible to camera. It's not in the camera. This one I would turn off for other ones. Back geometry, front of geometry, it really doesn't matter because it's a sphere. And then I just crank this guy up till I start to see it. So this is at 60. $600,000. And so I start to get some results like this, but obviously this is starting to get blown out, right? But it's got some nice shadows that's coming across the face, which I like. You know, it's doing some things, so maybe if I keep it around that high, but go half of that, it'd be okay. But now I'm noticing how bright that light is actually kills the detail that I had in the face. So then this is where you start to come in and start changing the skin material. So it's a little bit too transparent, so I've got to bring it down. Maybe let's try it in half. It still keeps some of that translucency, but you start to bring back some of that detail. And then I'll go into my environment and start cranking my environment back up. It always helps to have your environment background to match. I mean, that light probably is still a little too bright. So this is like what it's looking like. And it's probably too over top. So I'll, maybe even drop it down a little bit too. It's all about getting that balance. So as this bakes, I mean, obviously the one thing that I'm seeing is like that light is really orangey. So I'll bring it back, bring the temperature back to almost neutral but still warm. And then I'll contrast that by having like a bounce light down here that will pop up. So, I like to even turn off all the lights so you just see what this light is actually doing. And somehow it's making everything else black. That's interesting. But that's the example of how I set up a light. But I like to tweak my materials just enough to get the detail that I need to start reading the rest. So how do I go for the rendering / sample settings for the final shot? So that as far as like, okay, let's go back. We'll have my light on, and normally, oh man, why is this so low? Oh, I'm on performance mode. That's why everything is looking so weird. I'm on performance mode. Gosh, I was like, why does it look like poop? Performance mode. So this is actually now rendering, and now you're seeing like the specularity, because that's what it was doing. It was killing the specularity, and it was killing all this stuff. Okay. So with performance mode now on, these are all linked, so I can instantly take the roughness, maybe bring it up just a bit so some of these things get softer. Not performance mode. I like to go to either product, as a start, or interior. Sometimes some of these things will affect the render. Product is normally a good start, or interior. Full custom is gonna make your renders really long, or full simulation. Interior is gonna be still a little bit longer, but product has a nice balance. And then if I need, like, normally I'll turn on caustics for the eyes to help with the eye renders. The ground illumination is sometimes really nice too, if I need it. Sometimes it also blows things out. But I will take up my shadow quality to probably like 3 or 4, sometimes, or even up to like 6. I guess it doesn't go up to 6. Yes, it does. 3. And then my ray bounces, depending on how many lights or indirect bounces, this I'll normally do at 2 or 3. This will just also help with the reality a little bit. And then the ray bounces I probably will keep around 10. Is just to help with the speed of the render, because you get the majority of the look of what I want from there. See, now I can actually like see what this is doing to everything. It's like, why does that light look like poop? Anyways, so those are the kind of things that I do for final render stuff. Is I don't go crazy. I think I can go up to like 6 sometimes, if it's needed. Most of the time, you can get a good quality shadow with around these settings. And then just playing around, getting the area light to also help with how much. But normally, in the end, the majority of the time that I'm doing the rendering stuff is the brightness on my HDRI light is probably around like 0.2, because I have my key light, my bounce light, my rim light, and then maybe another bounce light. And it feels a little bit, I think it feels more real when you do it that way, when you have like, when you're controlling all your lights and then like you're just getting a little subtle, world or area light in there. None of this is doing what I want. Plastic, of course. This is so dumb. But I love it. I love it. Anyways. Back to texturing. So I think the overall, the areas are looking better, like the eyes, the bags under the eyes, the nose, like the colors that need a pop, I think will pop. Especially, let's do one more test where we're going to go in my key light. Because I'll want a strong, like, rim light on this guy. Simply because I want his ears to glow. And so it's fun to be able to like test and control that. So let's do that. Let's see how well the ears are coming across. We'll turn the brightness to 0. Oops. and see if like this is my goal, where I want those ears to really light up because I want the subsurface to be there. I might do 2 renders, one that has the detail, because like doing a higher transparency softens all the detail, so I'll probably do like 2 renders, one where the transparency is up high and another one where it's not, so I can, and then just kind of blend the 2 together. But doing this, like look how much life that brings in to those ears. Makes it feel so much stronger, I think. Anyways, doing little things like that, I think, really help bring out the life and love and eat, sleep, pray, you know, type of thing. Okay, so he looked a little goofy for a while, but now I feel like we're home. So now, as we're working out, I might just do a quick, like, solid color pass on him, so I can start playing around with the colors. So as far as like colors go on this, because you know there are no color keys to this, it's kind of up to my own discretion. So what I've found is you want to keep, since this is going to be the focus of the picture right here is his face. So I want all the color, because he's got some really saturated colors in his face. I actually might go through the eyes again to really maybe put some really bright saturation in his eyes, like really bright colors. I don't want these colors to conflict with these colors too much. And if I'm going off like a color guide, like an analogous color guide where everything's going to fit in this spectrum, I mean, it's not really analogous, it's more like almost oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the term, the opposite colors of we're using reds and greens for everything, and everything's going to fall in that spectrum, but all my vibrant colors are fitting in right here, and I want these colors below to be all desaturated. I don't want anything to draw your attention up. So as I'm looking at this flat, this green is, I like the green because it matches the eyes. It's too saturated, so I have to kind of mute. Doesn't mean that I have to go light, it just means it will feel better. It'll help draw the eye up. Complementary, gosh, yes. Thank you, as I'm having like a brain fart tonight. But nice olive colors. But this is also like You're seeing it more. You know, I don't want things crossing into the saturation, like really saturation side. It's got to be a little bit more here. See, his pants are more neutral-ish. They're feeling a little bit more saturated. So if I just bring those down a little bit more. And just looking at this guy like, how's he reading this way? So all the colors are going to more or less fall within these two families. Hey, what is this? Colors coolers.co. Oh, cool. And it's free. One thing that ZBrush really... I'll have to check this out when I have more time. This looks cool. I use... what is it? Adobe's, like, cooler... Adobe's color wheel thing. This is really good. You can quickly switch between. So I'm assuming it's probably something like that, right? This is what I've been using. I haven't decided if I'm making shoes yet. I should probably make shoes because, like, I don't want to do a turn where he's not wearing, where... Anyways, this isn't bad. Like, I'm trying to look... I wonder if we go lighter on top so we have a gradient from dark colors up. So I might swap these. This actually feels a little better, a little stronger, having... Yeah, I like that a lot more. Tanuki art. Okay, I haven't seen something that came to it. Miami. What's your name, Tanuki? That's cool that they're stopping in. Hugo, how's it going? Good old jazz music session. Hola amigo, ¿cómo estás? Estoy muy bien. Un poco cansado, pero estoy aquí y muy feliz. Y yeah. Tanuki! Oh, Tanuki! Yeah, that's right. Okay, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by. How's the ZBrush going? Are you still cranking at it? Thanks, Hugo. Mi español es muy mal porque no practico para nada. No tengo nadie con quien puedo practicar. Entonces mi español me ha dicho adiós. It's the only words that come to mind in Spanish. Oh, awesome. That's great. You'll have to send me an email, Tanuki, and show me some of the stuff that you're working on. Tanuki, I was invited to go to her school and do a couple-day workshop. It was a lot of fun. It was I mean, Miami was super cool. Also, like, so hot. I kept saying, like, oh, the sun's got to be closer in Miami, but it was awesome. I'd love to go back. Está muy mal. Y había un tiempo cuando pensaba en español, pero ahora tengo que pensar antes de hablar. Me cuesta mucho hablar. I'd like to get back to speaking Spanish. I need Spanish speaking friends here.
Sergeant First Class, Mark Wood.
On the equator? What? Did I miss something? I've been to the equator. My wife and I, we moved to Ecuador. She also speaks Spanish. We moved to Ecuador on our 1-year anniversary. And we actually traveled to the equator in Ecuador. It was pretty cool. Well, that's something that you think all people should do, is think before we speak. Yes. Tanuki, I always point people to your tutorials when they ask where you learn to make characters. Hey, thanks so much. Oh, I'm getting some comments on YouTube again. I'm probably missed. They probably already jumped off. Hi, Matt. Good to see you live again. I'm alive. I'm not dead. And John Doe says, glad to see you live. Thanks. Thanks for stopping by. Is that the John Doe that I know and love from Utah? I don't know if you're still on, John Doe, but if you are, you're awesome. I'm actually still sad that we didn't pick you up at chair because I just love John Doe. What can I say? Everyone does. I actually have been thinking of, like, maybe I should try to attempt to do a full 3D tutorial in Spanish. But then I'm like, oh wait, I don't know any of the words, like modeling terminology in Spanish. So I'd have to learn like a whole new vocabulary, which would be fun. Right? Learning new words is fun. But I'm so out of practice. There was a time that I could talk your guys' ear off in Spanish, and I did have a good blast. And then there was like, because I don't speak it every day, this lady tried to ask for directions how to get to the bus in Spanish, and it was like, I know how to respond to you, but I can't. Well, that's a good way to do it, is to put my ZBrush into Spanish, like have an auto translate thing and then just read it. But ZBrush has got like so many like dynamish. ¿Cómo se dice dynamish en español? Probably just dynamish. Ooh, I can just start learning conspiracies about the Mexican government. That's a great one. John Doe says, thank you so much for your tutorials. They are what got me into ZBrush. Hey, thanks for picking them up, John. Like, I love hearing that people are using my tutorials and that it's helped. It's inspired me to keep making it. And, I've got a couple more that should be coming out fairly soon, so hopefully hopefully we can keep rolling on that. I'll be doing these streams on YouTube as well as Twitch for now on. I mean, we're going to try it out. I should say for now on, but like, I'm going to try it out. See how it goes. You can do and try to find where they hid the chupacabra. Oh man, a chupacabra is elusive.
Sergeant First Class Graham Breedlove on the trumpet. Master Sergeant Matt Neese with the composition and also the trombone solo.
See, that color just pops out really strong. So let's play around with what might work. See, just way too strong. Let's go back to my green family. Still. That's probably better. And this is all just for color callouts anyways. I mean, if we're looking at it, yeah, I'm just looking at the color tones. I'm wondering if this green still is a bit too much. Oh, I don't know. I think I like the dark just as maybe lighter. Less saturated. There we go. But again, this is something. Let's do a save before I crash everything again. It's nice to see these things in Keyshot. Yo, spot on sculpture. Thank you, man. Thanks, Cams. We're getting there. Oh, it's... So, we're going to have to do one of these. Snapped ground. And seeing if like these colors work. Oh yeah, and I already changed the lighting, that's why it's all weirdo. Have I been 3D printing anything new lately? You know, I haven't, which is incredibly depressing. I've been wanting to go through and print my Miss February, the girl with pink hair and the motorcycle, because I want to give. I want to make a couple. I want to make a few. One for me because I've printed all the tutorials that I've made so far. Like I've printed Evie, the girl, my first one, and then I printed the kid that I made, and then so she's kind of the one that I need to make now, and I also want to make it and give a copy to Justin Rodriguez, who made the concept. I actually commissioned and you know, paid him to make the concept specifically for this tutorial. For that tutorial. See, now the size relationships are like way off. But one thing that helps here's another trick that I do sometimes. Before I mean, this is kind of just to check loose colors. So I'll link all the materials, which will actually just neutralize everything, and then I'll just give it one of the I'll give it one of the Keyshot materials, which is just like a hard, rough plastic. Or sometimes I'll do the soft, sometimes helps. And then, you know, try to get the specularity to where it should be, which is probably 2 or higher. Where I'm not dealing with any transparency, that everything's rendering really quickly. I can get a rough idea, and then I'll start playing around with the lights, because everything will render without transparency. I also want to like do a giveaway too, of like giving away that model. I still have a couple. I want to do a couple giveaways, but right now it's just a horrible time. So like just out of the gate, the colors seem to be reading really well. The shapes seem to be holding pretty strong too. The one thing I am noticing though, because the colors are so similar, is that the hand is bleeding into the jacket. So it looks great against the shirt though. That pulled out really nice. But those two colors are too much the same. So I wonder if I go back. That might be a good idea, is I keep the jacket the same color as the collar. Ah. Though that kind of kills them. Let's see what we do here. Well, it's got to be the same color as the concept. I'm a stickler for that. Ugh. So if we go about this way, go a little bit lighter. These are going to have to go a little bit darker. This shirt's going to have to go lighter. This is all just so this stuff can read a little better. I might have a little bit more leeway with this. That's not too bad. Then all the shapes, so all the shapes are now popping a lot better. Like the hand is very readable against the colors. We could probably go just a titch darker with the jacket. Actually, just the collar. I want to go just a titch darker with the collar. Help that pop just a little bit. There we go. Yeah, you just don't want like any of these key shapes to be pushed out. Oh, I'm missing all these comments. Yeah, thanks, the Juante. Did you go to college for 3D art? I actually didn't go to college. What I did is I found a 9-month modeling program in Seattle, and it was awesome. It was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, the school's no longer there. It was like an 8 to or a 9 to 5 days a week. They just taught you Maya, ZBrush, 3D Studio Max for 9 months, and it was great. I loved it. And then, yeah, in SLA, yes. So it would like what I'm imagining. Let me grab this. Hold on. What I'm imagining is something comparable to this, where this is actually a resin kit made from an SLA printer, but just something maybe not this big, but if it was, it would be freaking awesome. But it would probably be expensive to do, but I think it'd be a nice. I'd love it on my desk to have Miss February right there, and then also to be able to give it to Justin Rodriguez is just a thank you, because he was a stud, and I approached him about the project, and we worked out a good deal, and it just would be a good thank you, I think. If I ever thought about setting up a store for my prints, I'm actually sure the Infinity models were bought for the models, not the game, most of the time. Yeah, I've thought about that. There's a couple of my models that are on pin shape. I'm totally blanking. Pin shape.com. Maybe just one of my things is on here. Pin shape. Let's see. Yeah, I've got a couple of things like the crocodile that I did. Not Shapeways. This is a site similar to Shapeways. But I've got a couple of models on that I've done for free that people can download, and some people have downloaded and done. So I've thought about maybe putting my stuff up on Shapeways, but Shapeways gets pretty expensive, especially for like doing detailed maquettes like that thing over there. So eventually, like, I want to do long-term plans. Nobody knows about this. Is that I do want to do like a series of figures that kind of all go together and could be a reasonable collectible item that's not. I mean, this thing was awesome. Unfortunately, like the company that we partnered with, this is something that I made with Brett Bean. And working with Brett is awesome. He's one of my favorites. Like, he's been one of my favorite concept artists for years. And somehow we kind of got connected over online and became really good friends. And we ended up making this maquette together, and it just went so smoothly. It was awesome. Unfortunately, we partnered with a company that was just starting, that they hadn't done anything like to this size and this detailed. So we wanted this to be around $60, and it ended up, like, just the material and the tooling and the stuff, it ended up to be like $90 with no markup. So we would not make any money. We would break even if we could sell them all at $90, which is pretty high for something that's that has no real story to it. It's just kind of like a cool piece of like, oh, Brett Bean, Matt Thorpe made this. It turned out awesome. Like, I love it. I look at it all the time, and like I bring it to my work and kind of have it there. She travels with me quite a bit, but it's kind of an expensive item. I'd love it to have something a little bit more reasonable, around like the $30 to $60 range, because I think that's more, as far as like looking at the collectibles that I have, that's around, all the things that I have are around that price. So anyways, back you go, maiden fair. But I could probably do a bunch more of these guys. I mean, this was actually printed on my printer, my FDM printer. I'm showing my printer, but the detail actually comes across fairly well. It's not perfect, but it's okay. And this was, the material cost on this was probably only like $4. So yeah, partnering, that's another one of the things I'd love to look into is getting a licensed IP and doing something, just kind of going big, which sounds kind of fun, but it's just probably not the right time just yet. So, as I'm just in between having a baby and house chores and full-time job and trying to make Redbeard fun for everyone. So I think that's all that I've got to tonight. This is probably a good stopping point. And next week we'll just jump up onto something else, as I think we've kind of ran our course with this. I might try to finish, texturing and rendering on the side, but let's see this. Level 52 Studios. Oh yeah. So I totally want this, like, what is it? What's the artist name? The Max Greek. Yeah, I love this. Like, the sculpt turned out awesome. I would love to buy this, but it's also $160. But I'm sure the quality is there, but it's probably polystone. That's a awesome thing. And also Max Greek has got like 1.5 billion followers. So he probably sells those out fairly quickly, I'm guessing. But man, really cool. Would love to be able to do something along this style, but keeping the price. We're around 60. Yeah, polystone, polyresin, 10 inches would be awesome. Yeah, so I've worked with some people on how they've kind of shown me that it's possible to like get to that price. You kind of have to do a little bit more work yourself, though, as far as like casting some of the stuff and you know, if you want to go into painting stuff too, you can definitely get to that price. Or if you order a ton. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. Anyways, that's all I've got tonight. If there are any other questions, I'll stay on for a little bit longer, but if not, I'll just jump off now and get to bed. But thanks for everyone for coming out and for all the comments tonight. This has been a fun night for comments of just like asking about some 3D stuff. So that's been a lot of fun. I'll be back next week, next Thursday, and we'll start a new character. We'll probably do a female next time because I don't think I've streamed doing a female before. Oh, be Sunman, yes. Thanks for coming by. Oh yeah, thanks Dead Ends and Camden Watts. Thanks for your questions and for your comments. You guys are awesome. Next week we'll be doing something new and something awesome. Axel Truth, thanks for your questions. You guys are great, and you guys have a good night. I don't know how to turn this off, so maybe I'll just keep streaming because I've lost the ability to turn things off. Okay. Have a good night.